Hey everyone, welcome back. If you want your requirements and your list of requirements to make sense, they need to tell a story. Here's the overview of this video. So we've talked about why your requirements list matters and how to use it as a negotiating tool. But here's the thing, none of that works if your list is unreadable. If it's a bunch of technical gibberish that only developers understand, that's not good. Collaboration is key, and you want your stuff to be approachable. You want to be able to tell stories and invite people in and understand what this product is all about and what your vision is all about. Your requirements should tell a story. And I don't mean that in a fluffy, wouldn't it be nice kind of way. I mean, it's essential for getting the collaboration and feedback you need. We'll also talk about the difference between capturing goals versus capturing implementations. That's part of the avoiding tech jargon requirements. You care because getting this wrong locks you into solutions before you understand the problem. So let's start thinking about this requirements as story thing. Let me give you a quick test you can run on your own requirements list. Pick 10 requirements at random. Show them to someone outside the team. A stakeholder, a customer, someone from a different department. Ask them, can you tell what we're trying to accomplish? If they can't answer that question, your list isn't telling a story. It's a technical to-do list. And that matters more than you might think. Let me show you what I mean by technical gibberish. These are real examples from lists I've seen. Refactor authentication module. Okay, I'm a nerd. I roughly understand what that's about. But what does it mean for the business? Why should anyone care? Update database schema for user preferences. Oh, great, some tables are changing. But what does the user get out of this? What problem does it solve? Implement API endpoint for widget retrieval. This tells a developer what to build, but it tells a stakeholder absolutely nothing. They can't validate whether this is the right thing to work on. Fix bug 4523. This is my favorite. What is bug 4523? Who knows? Hope you enjoy digging through your bug tracker to find out. If your list looks like this, stakeholders can't engage with it. They can't help you prioritize because they don't know what any of it means. Now let's look at the same kind of work, but framed as stories. Users can log in with their Google account. Now I understand. We're making login easier. I can have an opinion about whether that's important right now. Users can save their favorite reports for quick access. Clear. I know who benefits. I know what they get. I can validate whether this is the right thing to build. Admins can browse all widgets without the page freezing. This is actually a performance fix, but framed in terms of what the user experiences. Way more meaningful than implement pagination. Customers no longer see errors when checking out with saved cards. This was bug 4523. Now, I know what it means and why I should care about fixing it. See the difference? Same work, completely different level of understanding. It matters because your requirements list isn't just for your team. It's for stakeholders. It's for executives. It's for the people who need to trust that you're working on the right things. When your list is technical gibberish, those people can't engage with it. They can't validate your priorities. They can't help you make trade-offs. And they definitely can't trust that you have a vision, because they can't understand the vision you're describing. Let me break down why story-shaped requirements are so powerful. They serve 3 functions. First, trust building. When stakeholders can read your list and understand what you're trying to accomplish, they can engage with it. They can validate it. They stop micromanaging because they can see you have a plan. Second, validation. Non-technical humans can read your requirements and catch when you're heading the wrong direction. Wait, why are we building that before this? You want that feedback. You need that feedback. And third, flexibility. When requirements are framed as goals rather than implementations, you can split them, adjust them, adapt them, all while still honoring what you're trying to accomplish. The goal stays fixed. The implementation can flex. Here's the core dynamic I want you to understand. When your requirements are technical, but when they tell a story, everything changes. Let's see the problem first. Only developers understand them. Everyone else nods along and hopes for the best. Stakeholders can't validate priorities. They don't know if you're working on the right things because they can't parse what the things even are. Feedback comes too late. By the time someone realizes you built the wrong thing, you've already built it. Now let's say that your requirements are more like stories. Anyone can understand them. Non-technical stakeholders can read your list and actually engage. Stakeholders can validate early. Wait, is that really more important than this? That's the conversation you want. Feedback happens before you build, because people can see what you're planning in terms they understand. Story-shaped requirements invite collaboration. Technical requirements shut people out. There's a deeper principle here that's worth understanding. A goal might be users can access their accounts more easily. That's the outcome you want, the user benefit. An implementation might be add OAuth 2.0 PKCE flow. That's one way to achieve the goal, but it's not the only way. Here's the key insight. Write down the goal, then discover the implementation. Don't lock yourself into a solution before you understand the problem. When you frame requirements as goals, something magical happens. You can find simpler solutions. Maybe there's an easier way to achieve the goal than what you originally imagined. If you wrote down the implementation, you'd never discover it. You can split the requirement without losing meaning. We'll do the basic version first, then enhance it. The goal stays intact even as you deliver incrementally. And changing scope isn't failure. We wanted users to access accounts more easily. We found a simpler way. That's a win instead of a compromise. But if you'd written implement OAuth PKCE flow, changing that feels like you didn't finish. You're almost literally redefining where the finish line is and what that finish line even means. In jazz, you have the tune, the chord changes, the structure, the song you're playing. That's the goal. And then you have the solo, what you actually play in the moment. That's the implementation. A great musician doesn't write out the solo in advance. They know where they're going, the changes, the form, and they discover the line in the moment based on what's happening. If your requirements are all implementations, you've written out the solo in advance. There's no room to adapt. Every change feels like a mistake. But if your requirements are goals, you know where you're headed and you can improvise the path. Here's the bigger picture I want you to see. Each requirement is like a scene in a movie. It has a protagonist, the user. It has an intention, what they're trying to do. And it has an outcome, what happens when they succeed. And your requirements list, taken together, tells the story of your vision. Where is this product going? What will it do for users? What problems will it solve? Stakeholders should be able to read your list and understand that story with minimal explanation. If they can't, if it reads like a technical to-do list, then you're missing out on the collaboration and trust building that makes everything else work. How do you know when a requirement doesn't tell a story? Here are some warning signs. There's no clear protagonist. You can't answer who benefits from this. If you can't point to a person who's better off when this is done, it's not a story. The why is technical. We need to refactor this for performance. Okay, but why does performance matter? What happens to users when it's slow? That's the real why. You can't imagine demonstrating it to someone. If you can't picture showing this to a stakeholder and them going, that's useful, it's probably not framed as a story. And a sneaky one, the scope keeps creeping. When requirements are vague implementations, scope creep is inevitable because nobody's sure what done looks like. Stories have natural boundaries, implementations don't. Here's something you can try this week. Pick 5 requirements from your current list. Ideally ones that feel a little technical or vague. For each one, ask, who benefits? What do they get? Can I picture demonstrating this to someone outside the team? Then rewrite them as user outcomes, not implement X, but users can now do Y. It doesn't have to be formal user story format, just human readable. And then, next time you're in a prioritization conversation, see if stakeholders engage differently. I'm betting they will. Because now they can actually understand what you're talking about. All right, let's bring it home. Your requirements list should be readable by non-technical people. If it's not, you're missing out on validation and trust. Story-shaped requirements invite collaboration. Technical requirements shut people out. Write down goals, not implementations. The goal stays fixed, while the implementation can flex. Your requirements list, taken together, should tell the story of your vision. If stakeholders can't see that story, they can't trust it. In the next video, we'll look at specific before and after examples, how to transform technical gibberish into human readable requirements. See you there.